Gross. That'd be fun. I would perform a spell to toilet plunger, but no! Poop needs to leak out the bottom. Why is there a leaf in the bathroom? Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 1. Now, to get the book nerds to shut up and stop complaining about the filmmakers leaving things out of the movie that were in the book, they split this movie into 2 parts. Am I the only one that wouldn't have minded sitting in the theater for 5 hours watching a Harry Potter movie? I read the book, but it's obviously packed with important details that need to be captured in the movie. But after seeing Part 1, I gotta assume that this split just benefits the second one. Because I like this movie a lot, but there was a lot of uneventful things in it. I'm not saying the split was unnecessary because I haven't seen the second film yet, and I like this film a lot. I did really like this film, but there are some scenes that definitely drag. I'm okay with them being out of Hogwarts. I'm okay with it being a darker film. I actually like that a lot better when the 4th film came along and it became a much darker series. It was PG-13, it was much more violent, things were getting much more dangerous for the characters. I like this darker style. I like how this movie is basically like a Muggle Holocaust. I like how in any given second these 3 characters could be murdered and we would just sit there. Well, I guess the book, if you've read the book, you know when it's gonna happen. How is that fun? Why do you read the books? I don't get it. I know they're based off the books, but why do you want to know what's gonna happen? That's why I don't read the books. Not only do I prefer the films to the books, well, it's weird saying I prefer the films to the books, I haven't read the books. It takes a lot of talent to write a great story, but I think it takes a lot more talent to adapt it to a great screenplay and bring a whole movie together that's actually very well made. And I am much more into filmmaking. What was I saying? Well, I'm okay with all that it's different, there's less magic. But there needs to be elements to it that make it a Harry Potter movie. There's 3 kids camping in a tent. There's really nothing making it a Harry Potter movie anymore. Thankfully, there's not much of that, but there were a few scenes where I'm kind of like, this doesn't feel like a Harry Potter movie at all anymore. When the magic finally hits and there's a lot of action, it is amazing. This is the best action ever in a Harry Potter movie. Maybe. But the story is pretty sophisticated, and it's to the point where we don't get a whole lot of it, which is okay. It's not that much of a complaint, but there are some scenes that definitely drag. There are some elements of the story that they don't really explain very much. I guess that's where reading the stupid book comes in. If I'd read the book, I would have known that one of my favorite Harry Potter characters dies in like the first 10 minutes. Speaking of the first 10 minutes, there was a baby like crying its butt off at the very beginning. But I think someone seriously killed it because I didn't see anyone leave the theater, but it stopped crying for the rest of the movie. Don't take your babies to the movies. And once you can feel that you've been watching this movie for well over 2 hours, it becomes terrifying. Not because of the suspense, but because you know at any given second, the movie could end. Does the movie find a good closure point? I think it finds about as good as a closure point as it could. You know, you might be like, man, oh my god, that was so abrupt. But like, what else do you expect? It is one movie split into 2 parts. They're not gonna like find a really good place to end it. I think they ended it about as well as they could. It wasn't like in the middle of a situation, some epic plot point just happened, they end the movie. Aggravating as heck, but it had to be done. Acting-wise, these actors have really matured, they've really become their roles. Probably the best acting in a Harry Potter movie so far, and I've always really enjoyed the acting, except maybe in the second film. For some reason, the acting sucks in the second film. I don't get it. Is this my favorite Harry Potter movie so far? No, it's probably in the mid-upper section. I think my favorite is probably Goblet of Fire and Half-Blood Prince. It's funny because those 2 movies are the most hated by big fans. I like it. Prisoner of Azkaban, and then probably this one, and then Sorcerer's Stone, then Chamber of Secrets, and then Order of the Phoenix. I'm not positive about that. That's a rough guess that this movie is there, right in the middle, my 4th favorite. So I explained a few little flaws I had with this film. It's a really good movie. There's not very many flaws. I'm just saying those are the things that I think keep it from making a truly great Harry Potter movie. But the thing that I really, really loved about this movie is that the execution, the feel, the tone, everything, you really feel the seriousness of their situation. You really feel that all of this is leading up to something epic. The second film sucks. The suicide rate in this world is going to reach an all-time high. The camera was pretty shaky in a few scenes, and just some long, drawn-out scenes that just verged on the film dragging. The story does have a few dragging points, and it starts out pretty slow. It starts out with an epic action sequence, but then it just kind of slows down until it finally gets up and running. I would say the second half of this film is probably better than the first half. It's true that once the film gets really, really, really good, it ends. This is a really good movie. Like I said, probably my 4th favorite in the series. It has a few, little gripes. But I think this movie is going to be loved by big fans of the book and the series. Especially the books, probably. I don't know, it's just my guess, although book fans just complain about everything. Honestly, they split this film into 2 parts just to shut you guys up, so please, shut up! It seems like you guys never even considered the importance of what was in the book that wasn't in the movie. You just want to complain because you realize something that was in the book wasn't in the movie. It's like I was saying, like fans that just in it, you know, for the action-oriented stuff, maybe not like it as much, maybe not like it all, I don't know, because this one is much more focused on the characters, real depth into the story. It's a much more serious Harry Potter film, I gotta say. There are some good humor, but not as much as we've seen in the other films at all. You know, this film takes entirely place out of Hogwarts. I have a question. Hogwarts isn't up and running anymore, so why is there a scene where Death Eaters stop the Hogwarts Express? Why is the Hogwarts Express moving? I don't get it. Don't explain that to me, thanks. Anyways, overall I'm going to give Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 an 8.5 out of 10. Really, really, really close to a 9, guys. Almost there at a 9. But I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Good film, just not great. Really looking forward to the second part, of course. Probably my most anticipated movie of next year, I gotta say. And speaking of films next year, the trailers were The Green Lantern, which I'm really sick of people complaining about the trailer. I think it's not a very good trailer, but you gotta focus on the film itself, like the actual clips. Like, people can put together a bad trailer, but were the scenes from the film actually bad? I don't think they were, except Blake Lively trying to act. The trailer for Red Riding Hood, which really just reminds me everything that's wrong in this world. It shows that although there's only 4 Twilight books, movies that crappy aren't gonna end. It looks exactly like Twilight, yet it's raping a childhood fairy tale. I can picture the merchandise being sold on Hot Topic right now, and that's very depressing. Anyways, Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows Part 1, 8.5 out of 10, good movie, bye.